Jax and his father are chasing a woman who is desperate and a guy who is having trouble. Their search takes them to a house in the middle of nowhere that has a unique sign etched into the door. The father injured the woman in the leg, stopping her from running away. The man, on the other hand, gets away into the woods. Even though the woman begs for pity, the father tells Jax to pour gasoline on her. Jax is overwhelmed and hesitates, but in the end agrees. The father sets the woman on fire, and then they leave to keep looking for the man. A member of the group watches from afar. Their mask has the same sign on it as the house. The suggestion is that the group was behind Jax's family tragedy, which is why he wants to get payback. After some time, a police officer finds the hurt man by the side of the road and takes him to a hospital that is almost empty. Nurse wife of the police officer takes care of the man's wounds. In another part of the hospital, a pregnant woman is about to give birth, followed by her worried grandpa. A medical trainee fights with boredom, teasing a young patient who isn't getting proper care. The hurt man wakes and becomes irritated with the doctor responding to him. The doctor gives a painkiller and says that the man has likely experienced stress and needs time to heal. The doctor shares his own personal loss of his daughter recently and tells the cop to be gentle with his wife. As the cop walks the hospital halls, he hears weird noises coming from a patient's room. He finds his coworker violently beating a young patient with knives. In self-defense, the cop shoots his coworker, killing her quickly. The noise draws everyone's attention, and feeling stressed, the cop runs to the bathroom where he vomits and passes out. The doctor and nurse awaken him and tell him that a state policeman has come to investigate the event. After hearing the officer's story, the trooper attacks his handling of the situation and takes away his gun. The cop had initially come to question the drug user, suspecting him of being involved in the cabin killing and possibly drugging the coworker, causing her odd behavior. With the hospital's phone lines down, the cop goes outside to his car to call for help but gets no answer. He sees a group member standing by the car and approaches carefully. The car's horn blares and the lights flicker out. The group member charges and the cop barely manages to fend him off. Realizing they need to protect the hospital, the officer suggests barricading the door to keep the group members out and planning their escape. Suddenly, they hear the bound drug user screaming from another room. The cop and the state police rush to investigate, finding their coworker changed into a hideous creature. The state policeman shoots it, but it doesn't seem to affect it. In panic, the cop lets the drug user from his shackles, and they lock him in the room. As they gather, Simon and his father burst in, trying to take the drug user away. The drug user seizes the pregnant woman as a hostage. While the doctor tries to calm him down, he becomes angry and kills him. The grandpa intervenes, saving the pregnant woman. Amidst the chaos, another thing flees and grabs the state cop with its tentacles, stabbing him in the eye until he dies. The cop tries to interfere with an axe but is knocked back. Simon and his father come to help, with Simon's father shooting at the creature's important organ, causing blood to splatter. Together, they smash it repeatedly until it dies. Worried that another thing might turn up soon, Simon's father decapitates the state cop and burns his body. Simon and his father try to take the drug user away again, but the cop stops them. They reveal that someone betrayed them, hurting Simon's voice cords and leaving him mute. The officer tells them to put aside their differences for life. They decide to stay together in one room for safety. A new problem arises. The pregnant woman needs an emergency C-section. The nurse needs medical tools to ensure a safe birth. The cop tells his wife nurse to wait while he goes outside to grab a shotgun from his car. Meanwhile, Simon's father goes out with him to collect goods while leaving their nurse wife behind. As she gets what they need, she is taken by a mystery person, who turns out to be none other than their own doctor, or so it seems. As the group huddles together, a cult member sneaks up behind Simon and charges, but the officer quickly shoots him. They run back inside, only to find the nurse is missing. The officer and Simon's father search the medical supply room and walk through the halls trying to find her. Suddenly, they hear a phone ringing and the cop answers it. It's the doctor, who exposes himself as the cult's founder. He admits to causing his colleagues monster change and says that the officer will soon understand his goals. Simon's father finds pictures related to the group and they learn the doctor has taken their nurse. The cop, Simon, and his father decide to look for her, leaving the student with a radio to stay in touch. They question the drug user, threatening to break his fingers for information about the group. Terrified, he admits that he joined the girl at the cult house for free meth, but watched terrible practices and deaths. With this new knowledge, they head to the basement to face the doctor, directed by the intern via radio. They find another path going further down and finally arrive at a right spot. The drug user knows it as a copy of the cabin's basement, sparking his painful memories. In a secret operation room, the nurse wakes up to find herself in a terrible position. She asks how he came back to life, and the doctor says that after his daughter's death, he sought to master nature to bring her back. He explains his study's numerous fails, leading to the creation of strange animals and the recent fire. He found the void, a reality beyond nature that allows resurrection by changing the dead into different beings. The void's impact moved his basement from the cabin to the hospital. The doctor admits he put his daughter's tissue into the nurse's belly, resulting in a thing growing inside her. Meanwhile, Simon and his father enter a room marked with a triangle sign where they find a gruesome scene of mangled bodies from the doctor's failed trials. Suddenly, the bodies start to move and advance toward them. Simon starts shooting them one by one. The father starts imagining seeing his wife and baby and unknowingly walks towards them. In the chaos, a zombie grabs the drug user and smashes his head against the floor until he dies. The pregnant lady is in great pain, near childbirth. The intern hesitates due to lack of experience, but is pushed by the grandfather into taking action. In a shocking twist, the pregnant woman, driven by an unnatural strength, kills the grandpa by cutting his throat. She then admits that she carries the doctor's daughter, suggesting that he put tissue in her as well. Possessed by an alien force, she joins two group members waiting for her. Outside, more group members stand eerily still, causing the intern to lock herself in a room out of fear. Simon follows his father into a nightmare image of their family home. The doctor manipulates their thoughts, stirring up shame in Simon's father for not being there when their family was killed. Under the doctor's sway, the father starts to blame Simon for the deaths, as Simon had left the house during the killings. In a fit of rage, the father strikes Simon, who retaliates by starting a flare and burns his father's stomach. The severe pain brings the father back to reality, causing the illusion to dissolve and returning them to the basement. The father apologizes to Simon for his attack. Meanwhile, the officer finds his wife in the surgery room, apparently pregnant with their kid. He quickly sees it's an illusion as a thing has already risen from her. The doctor's voice fills the officer's mind, increasing his guilt over their dead baby and pushing him into a violent rage. Overwhelmed by guilt, the cop repeatedly hacks at the illusion of his wife with an axe. The doctor manipulates the officer's feelings, making his killed wife into an offering for the void, giving the void's blessing to the officer. The doctor's true goal becomes clear. He manipulates people into committing murder, thinking that the void's blessing offers a way to escape nature's limits. The scene changes to a room with a big triangle sign on the wall. The doctor says that he has mastered life and death through the void's gift, allowing him to revive his daughter. As the pregnant woman, now fully changed into a hideous creature, stabs the officer from behind, the doctor shows his final monster form. He begins speaking to the triangle sign on the wall, opening a portal from which a huge creature, his daughter, emerges from the pregnant woman. As the thing appears, Simon and his father arrive and start shooting at it. The thing, with its strong limbs, grabs the father, and Simon hits it with his axe, but its strength proves nearly unbeatable. In a dramatic twist, Simon's father makes one last frantic move. He shoots at the thing, but it stays unharmed. In a final act of disobedience, he pours alcohol on its limbs and tells Simon to set them both on fire. Simon is torn by the sight of his father in agony, but finally complies. The flames devour them, and the creature's tortured screams echo through the night. Simon manages to crawl into a vent and avoid the chaos. Meanwhile, the doctor tries to convince the officer to join him in his twisted vision of paradise, offering a return with his wife. Instead, the officer hurls an axe at him and shoves him into the opening just before it closes. As the basement starts to shake, Simon flees from the falling space, leaving the thing stuck behind. He finds himself back in the hospital, where he reunites with the nurse. The strange creatures in Cult Basement have disappeared. With the doctor and Voight's power gone, reality starts to return to normal as if nothing had happened. In an alternate world, we see that the officer and his wife are revived, holding hands as they look at a huge tower before them. Their new life is strange, a place without a clear beginning or end, leaving their future unclear. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe for more sci-fi stories. Stay safe and see you next time.